Hello everybody and welcome to Back 10 here at All Out Rugby League, powered by Smart Energy GB, leading the smart meter rollout across Great Britain. With the smart meter, you can tackle your energy use head on and find smarter ways to save at home. If this is your first time that you've seen the podcast this week, I don't really need to introduce our guest now. He is England's most capped player, former St Helens and Canterbury Bulldogs prop, and leading the way through podcasting for Rugby League across the other side of the pond with the bye round. It is James Graham. Jammer. He spoke a lot about his England career and broke down the inquest and review of the Ashes. So if you haven't seen that, flick back to Monday's show and make sure that you get involved there. Remember, we always want to hear from you guys. So do comment, do reveal that hype button by swiping left, and you can hit that hype button up to 3 times a week. We tell you each and every week. It really does help us here at Back 10. And of course, do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything across everything that we have here at All Out Rugby League, including our Back 10 show, powered by Smart Energy GB. Let's get into the show. Well, Jammer, we've had some guests on the show who've been one club men. James Roby, Danny Maguire. We got down, obviously, Sean O'Loughlin at Wigan, Danny Houghton at Hull FC. But for you, as a Super League club one man, it was only ever really going to be St Helens, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. There's definitely only 2 clubs I could have ever saw myself playing for in this country. One, St Helens, the other, Workington Town. That's the only 2 teams I would have ever represented.
Up the Cumbrians, eh?
Why
well,
Workington?
He's half Cumbrian, right?
Well, yeah, my dad's from Maryport, so I did actually harbour quite a lot of ambition to go and play for Workington Town, but
that would have been mega.
it just didn't happen for a multitude of different reasons. But yeah, when I left Saints to go and play in Australia, I made a promise to myself that there's only 2 sides I play for, and obviously you've got to be wanted by those sides as well. But yeah, one was St Helens, obviously, and the other was Town.
Well, I'm pretty sure I could speak on behalf of everyone at Workington Town. They'd absolutely love seeing Jammer in that blue and white shirt for sure. But look, Blackbrook, you came through that.
Thatoui first.
Thatoui,
yeah,
sorry.
And then went to Blackbrook. Went for the glory year, me and Robes.
Yeah.
I can imagine that was big talk in the town back then.
Well, it was. I ended up playing for the year above at Thatoui. I moved up a year, and then when you get to 16, I couldn't go to 16s to 18s. I couldn't stay with that group. So I had a choice. Do I go back and play for Thatoui, or do I go and
do the dirty and
the absolute betrayal? and yeah, saying that about, like, playing for only ever 2 teams, like basically leaving Thatoui to go to Blackbrook is a bit like leaving Saints to go to Wigan, isn't it? So yeah. Judas.
Well, look, let's fast forward. I'll tell you what, before we get to there, what was it like then for you as a kid from Maghull getting a crack into St Helens Academy?
It was great, mate. Nobody at school had much idea around what Rugby League, Rugby Union was. Get the odd egg chaser shout because everyone's footy. So, but I like that. I wouldn't have changed things. If you were in the thick of it, maybe in somewhere in St Helens, it would look differently. But I didn't mind it, mate. It was good.
No. Well, look, fast forward to senior debut, August 2003 against Castleford. First of all, what did you must have always felt that it was coming, but it came fairly soon for you.
I was 17, and you say it was a debut. It was more like child abuse.
Go on, tell us a bit more.
Well, I just didn't feel like I was ready, mate. I was like, I was 17. I'd only been doing weights for like 12 months, and basically Saints had loads of players injured, and Ian Millwood just put me in. I think there was 3 debutants, me, Ian Ardman and John Hill, all 3 gingers as well.
So go on. You get that phone call, Jammer. What are you nervous, excited? Are you what can you remember? Can you remember how you felt?
I can remember feeling very nervous, but it's so different back then. Like now you see like the embroidered jerseys, none of that. No. I just got me name on the back, which was class, and me number. But I didn't like. There was no fanfare around, like, you know, the big reveal. Oh, he's making his debut, and there's like secret cameras and
no
stuff.
Social media.
Yeah, that was just, mate. You're in this week. I think it was as simple as that, and I'm going, oh God, okay, and yeah, making those phone calls to your loved ones was pretty special. But I just went out into that game. On the bench, I just remember, don't miss a tackle. That was all my goal was, don't miss a tackle. And I didn't, so I was pretty happy with that. And just make sure you survived. But I can remember being so fatigued. I think I only played maybe 10, 15 minutes.
It's mad because your heart's racing,
isn't it?
like
so much nervous energy.
Yeah.
And you know what? There was no real, like now, like there's more knowledge and more resources to like help you like navigate that. Like for the young players coming through today, I reckon they would be way more resource. But no, it's just, mate, you're playing. And I'd played that game over in my head 1,000 times. Like spent so much energy, like say the nervousness, the nervous energy. It's
a horrible feeling.
I was gone, mate.
Was there anyone early in your career that you came up against that taught you a lesson, that you came off the field and went, Christ, that was good learning?
To be honest, I got most of my learning from Paul Sculthorpe, Chris Joint, Kieran Cunningham.
Good people
Paul
to learn
Helens,
from.
You know, the rock stars, as they called themselves.
Like those were the players that I that I learned the most from. Yeah. I remember like Paul Sculthorpe leading the way in conditioning. It's like, there seems to be something going on there with how he plays, like his skills after training. To be fair, St. Helens did have a really big extras culture, and I think that was probably the more, rather than going up against an opposition. I can still, my shoulder's still sore from 2004 season. We played Wakefield, and I was right back row, and Michael Corkides took this ball off the tap. And it's still sore to this day. So I can
big Corky leaving a dent on Gemma.
Oh God, yeah, that was survival. Yeah.
But Gemma, I think back to when I sort of was watching you, and then fortunate enough to play. I think I played against you when Saints were at Widnes. They were at Widnes for a year. I think you played.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
But you were one of the biggest things about your game was the ability to move the ball as a big man. Is that something that you always had, or did you work on it, or is it just something that comes so natural to you?
Yeah, it was something that I consciously worked on. I think it was a coach of mine, Ray Jacks. He always encouraged me to move the ball, to pass the ball. He said, I was quite big as a kid at those junior teams, and it's like, mate, you'll get. Everyone will be the same size, so you got to find a way. And then, fortunately, coming through at St. Helens, Ian Millward was big on skills with his middles, and I think it was the philosophy of if someone's in a better position than you, then pass them the ball. And I, to be honest, Kyle, I was never going to be. I knew I was never going to be big enough to be just that front rower, and. Yeah, so I had to find a different way to make an impact on the game, whether that be footwork or sleight of hand. People talk about like the ball player. It requires a tremendous amount of selfless play from the players around you. Yeah,
you got made captain or co-captain of Saints quite young, didn't you?
That was in the
07.
That was that was 2000 for the 2011 season, my last season at St. Helens. I think it was there. They announced me and Paul Wellens as co-captains. I think it was Saints' final push to try and keep me.
Do you think that's why they did it?
Yeah, they were like, "Oh mate, you can't. You're a captain. You got to resign.
You can't go now.
Captain can't leave, can he?" No, but it was. I found like leadership pretty natural, but yeah, the moving of the ball really, it's it's not high risk to pass. It certainly shouldn't be.
But it wasn't really done. It wasn't really done as much. You kind of set a. For me, and he was in that time we were playing, you were the very best at doing that. And, you know, whether it would be a short ball, running yourself or out the back, it was very difficult to defend, right? You know, you've got three options there around one big man. So, no, it was... But look, 2006, you win the Young Player of the Year, you're part of the team that wins the treble. Things just seem to go... You know, your career from 2003, League Leader Shield in 2005, your grand final, obviously, you know, that fades away. But 2006... You've won everything inside of 3 years. You've won that, and you've won a Young Player of the Year.
Yeah, and you know what, Mary, you think back and you just think it's going to be like that all the time. Like, it was maybe the best and the worst thing to happen. Yeah, you just think, oh well, you know, I'm at Saints, the club that win, we win it all. Like, how good's this? But yeah, it's such an honour to be a part of that rugby league club, playing in 2006. I think, you know, the debate amongst the fans at the time was, is this the best St. Helens team of all time? And they compared it to, I think it was 66. And St. Helens have had some amazing teams over the years. So yeah, it's pretty cool to be in the mix for that claim. Obviously the lads that went and won in 2021 in Penrith probably can lay claim to that as well. But Saints in 06 was amazing. And for me as a player coming through, like, it was only 4 or 5 years earlier, I was on the terraces for Wide to West. Like,
mad, isn't it?
Like, it is. You know, when you like, I remember being in the Bradford away end watching Wide to West. I'd always like stand near the away end at Saints for some strange reason. And I can remember being there and then going back and hearing that commentary. Like, and what am I doing on this stage?
Some place to be.
Yeah,
some place to be.
Like, it was. Yeah, it's surreal, and yeah, it's something you can't you never really forget, and then you know I get both reminders of the past in positive and negative ways, and then sometimes you think of something like that, and you smile, and something creeps up on you about losing a grand final you think you should have won, and yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's what I was going to ask. We had James Roby on a couple of weeks ago, and he spoke about that streak of grand final losses and how much it impacted him and everything else. You talked about how you had 2006, sorry. Maybe it did come too soon, maybe it didn't, who knows, but managing that period of time where you had all the grand final defeats, how did you handle it?
Not great, to be fair. There's the one that really gets me is the one in 11. Like, it was it's what I thought was going to be my last game for St. Helens. But put that aside, we were I thought we were the better team on the day, and then you talk about being captain and making decisions. Pretty sure we got, I think we were 6 points in front, and we got a penalty. And obviously you take the 2, right? Yeah. Because I think my
Sinfield did it every time, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think maybe Leeds kicked out on the 4. So anyway, but that's and then subsequently what happened is we get the ball in the next set, and I think we lose Wello or Kyle Eastman. Then that was just the beginning of like us being decimated. I think we lose 3 outside back.
I think I remember that final, yeah.
Yeah, and I think we had it. And I was so determined to exit St. Helens as a winner. And you know what? The scenes at the end of that, I can remember Tommy Makinson like crying and like
in the in goal, wasn't it? Was it down by the in goal?
Yeah, put my arm around him. We had a great moment in 2020, but yeah, that was a tough one to take, that 2011 one. But I mean, yeah, it's sport, and yeah, what do you do? We did get some magnificent Challenge Cups, and again, look back at that, and you appreciate just how well Hull KR have done. They're very new territory in terms of, playing in those big games. Like, they can dine out on Challenge Cup. Like, you could forgive them for, putting the queue on the rack as it is. But credit to Willie Peters and the players there. They've not done that. It's a very difficult thing to do.
I think that's one thing that Willie Peters mentioned after the game. He said, look at that St Helens side that had gone and won 4 in a row World Club Challenge. They never did the treble. Mm-hmm. So it just shows you how hard it is. And obviously you did it in 2006, but it didn't just stop there. 2007, that famous night at the Reebok.
Yeah.
Another trophy.
Yeah, well, again, you're thinking World Cup Challenge against the Brisbane Broncos. Just Scully just put on a
clinic.
Yeah. That like, probably didn't get the best years of Scully, but in fact, definitely not. He was, unfortunately impacted through injury. But wow, like watching him go to town that day.
Roy of the Rovers, they said, didn't they? That's
he was incredible. Yeah.
You're up for Young Player of the Year again, but this time you don't claim it back to back, as a certain good friend of yours now and rival for many years, I would imagine, Sam Burgess, comes along and wins that gong. Let's move past St Helens now and let's look at the NRL. First of all, how did that move come about? And why Canterbury?
So I went on a tour as a 15-year-old, and seeing Australia, the pedestal that they put rugby league on, I made a promise to myself if I ever get the opportunity, I'm going to come and play over here. And obviously, you make promises to yourself as a youngster. Maybe you keep them, maybe you don't. But I was pretty determined to come out, and then obviously you come through at Saints, and then we were so close, we were so connected. We loved each other's company. Myself, Wilco, Eddie Gardner, Robes, Wello. Like we're together all the time, and then but I've got this burning desire to go and play in Australia. And Saints were pretty smart. They signed me to my 9th year.
And made you co-captain.
And made me co-captain. So they're dangling this carrot of a testimonial as well.
They're so clever, aren't they, clubs? They are. They're so clever.
Jeez. But I had to put that aside, because I think, like, doing the calculations, I reckon I definitely could have made more from doing a testimonial. But I was like, nah, I've got to go. Like, it's now or never for me. I had this burning desire. Like, I just had to go and test myself in that competition. But it was, like I say, not an easy decision to make. I realised quite quickly that the Australian public and press were probably desperate for you to fail as an Englishman over there. They can't wait to send you home packing with your tail between your legs. I'd like to think I earned the respect of that, but there's a thing there about Englishmen going over. They don't want them to succeed. They want to send the Poms back and say, what were you thinking? Then why the Bulldogs? I was off contract, and they just, like, they showed that they wanted me.
Was there others?
Yeah, there was a couple of other clubs, but Adam Blair at the Melbourne Storm was off contract at the same time, and some teams were saying, "Oh, we're going to go for Blair first, and if we miss him, then we'll go for James." Bulldogs just said, "We want you." So I was like, "Yeah, cool." And there's some other teams as well, but the Bulldogs, like, I guess their pitch and how they all presented, they showed a big care factor, and yeah, it was not too difficult decision in the end.
So what was it like for you early doors settling in? You've come from St Helens and now you find yourself in and around the beaches.
Yeah. You know what, Kyle, it was a bit of growing up for me as well. Like, lived very close to my parents. I'd be around there all the time. Mum and dad did so much for me, and they still do. But it was time to grow up a little bit as well. So I found that transition quite difficult. And yeah, training in the heat is different challenge to training in the cold and the snow, but yeah, and just the intensity of the days. And when I landed there, Des Hasler had just come to the club, so he was a new coach in signing, and I didn't realise at the time that a lot of the other players were shocked at how intense the preseason was.
Right,
like it was full on. So it was they were adapting, but I'm just thinking this is normal. But Desi's preseasons were
probably a good thing, right?
You
know, I mean, it can.
Yeah, but it was, man, I was flying by the end of it. It was the first full proper preseason I'd had. You know, over here we'd play international, like I would play internationals, and before you know it, you're back you're back in, but then you're playing a friendly in mid-January. No time to get fit, get big, work on your preparing your body for a season. Like, and so that was a noticeable difference, that we weren't playing until the first weekend of March. We had some trials in there, but it was good to get a good block of pre-season training. But yeah, it was intense, and people were fighting for, you know, their place in the team. And again, unbeknownst to me, we've got Dale Finucane and Josh Jackson coming through, and I just thought these were like just two normal up and coming players, these young players, and I'm like, oh my god, like Jacko is just through the roof, Dale so intense. I'm like, are these just two like I probably didn't get the background on them that they were destined for big things. So I was like, oh my god,
mate, look. We say it all the time. We feel like we could stay and go right throughout everything, but you know we are on a clock here at Bat 10. Look, nearly 200 games in the NRL. You know, obviously you had your 50 odd games at St George, but I probably want to just stay with the NRL just to speak about that 2014 grand final. You know, did you ever feel like that you must just be cursed? In terms of what had gone on before, and
like that grand final, like for me on a personal note, was just crazy. Like the way they were building up the rivalry between me and Sam, I just couldn't believe it. Like it was like, what on earth is going on here? Like this, and our Bulldogs team, like there was a lot that went into that. We lost Mick Innes in the game before against Penrith, like was shattered about that. But yes, Souths, it's difficult for me to say this, but they deserved it that year. Like, yeah, can't say nothing more than that.
Well, that rivalry was exposed straight away, wasn't it? Of course, you leave a piece on Big Sam Burgess, and he goes on to win the Clive the Clive Churchill Award, doesn't he?
Never thanked me for it either.
Does he not? No.
I'm only joking.
What did you text each other through the week with all this rivalry, or did you literally just go no?
No. Well, like the way they build up the grand final over there, like you've got so many commitments together with the team. We would see each other. I think we saw each other like 3 or 4 times that week at like different events that you're part of.
Well, look, it's crazy, right? Because you know, you mentioned the build up, everything. You come back to St Helens, but before we get to that, I just want to say, obviously, the build-up at that point, there wasn't one, was there? 2020, COVID.
No.
First of all, how did the move come back, Jimmy?
Oh, man, it's strange, really. So I was at the Dragons, the COVID year happens, and I'm actually in talks with Saints about maybe coming back for 2021. But look, I found that last year at the Dragons with COVID, very, very difficult. And I actually made a call to retire, like on the spot. I called Paul Wellens and said, mate, I think I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's just not worth the risk. Like, you know, with history of concussions and all that, I viewed things as a risk assessment. And I just got to a point where we were only about a third of the way through the fixtures because of the stop-start. And it looked as if the Dragons' chances of winning a premiership playing finals were non-existent. So I just made the call. I'm like, I'm not willing to risk myself doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not worth the pursuit. So I was like, I'm done. I called Wello and he's like, what do you mean? well, you're not thinking about coming back next year? I'm like, mate, I can't hold out. And he goes, well, hang on a minute. What? I think Tomo's leaving. And I'm like, no, he's leaving next year. He's like, mate, I think he might be going early, you know. Just pause that. So that's where the conversation was like, well, if Tomo goes,
we need you now.
I can come now. And you know what? That to be fair, was a big risk. Like there was a fair bit running through my mind. Spoke to Wolfie, Mike Rush, obviously Wello, and I had to go, and basically it wasn't an ultimatum that I put to the Dragons by any stretch, but I just said, look, I'm done. Can I go, or I'm just gonna hang the boots up? I think I did play a couple more games for them. But yeah, I was just done.
Well, it's difficult for a club, doing it, because once you've said that and you've made your mind up.
Yeah. I'm very grateful for them for allowing me to go back. But then and obviously COVID's happening.
Yeah,
like, mate, I've booked flights Monday. But yeah, I had to apply to leave Australia, believe it or not. Even though I'm a British passport holder, I had to apply to the government to leave. You remember that time? It was bananas. There's all sorts of nonsense going on.
Yeah.
I don't want to get started on all the BS that happened in around COVID, Mr. Anti-Vaxxer.
Me.
Friday, I get an email saying your application to leave Australia has been denied. That is it. No contact number. I'm like, as you know, Kyle, just nice and calm, cool. Just thought, I'll just make a few calls. Mate, I am flapping. I'm like, I have got a flight booked on Monday and you're telling me I can't leave. I'm like, anyway, I think I got the green light. I was at a gym in Sydney Monday afternoon. Boom, we're going, and me and the family take off and come over. But yeah, the flight over here, it was like, I think there was like 15 people on. And we were 4 of them.
Wow.
It was, you know what, they didn't even let us go in business either.
That was my next question.
Yeah.
Was that 15 in business or 15 in total?
Mate, it was like surreal. And then, just getting life figured out with young kids and schools and whatnot. They were daycare at the time, like nursery, and just figuring all that out in a short period of time, because things move pretty quickly. And then, you know, at Saints, at the time they weren't doing particularly well. Wolfie had just come in.
We went 3 from 6, and if you remember, Wolfie was under massive pressure. Massive pressure.
Yeah, it was. So, you know, I've come back with this dream. It's like, hang on a minute, are we going, kind of thing? Like we got to make the finals.
Yeah, I mean, Corby come at a great time for us as a group, because it allowed everybody to reset. I think there was some conversation between Robes and Wolfie about, you know, what I think Wolfie came over. I think he was just a bit too stern. He wanted to make his mark on a group that, go back to, you know, Monday's show when you said about a happy camp 2017. Well, we were under Justin Hall, but we were all happy. We were wanting to come to work, and it felt that was just changing. Credit to Wolfie though, he managed to change and adapt. And, you know, we came back, we trained so hard, you know, in that period, that we came back, and it was Catalan the first game at Headingley. And what made me laugh the most was I was dead excited to play alongside Jamalite. Yeah. But how noisy he was on a pitch, because there was no crowd, you could hear everything, and he absolutely tore strips off Jimmy Maloney.
I was still
were giving him it.
I was still going to games. Obviously, the press was still allowed in, and all in silence. All you could hear was him. It did my head in. It was incredible insight. It was amazing insight.
You know what, though? I'm only ever talking to myself, really. Communication is vital, and it was just.
Poor James Maloney.
I remember a Wigan Saints game at the Totally Wicked that year. I think Wigan won, and at the end, everyone was just going at each other, and everyone were just like egging each other on just to hit people. It was brilliant. I've never got that insight before. It was brilliant.
Well, you know what? We Saints needed that game.
Yes.
Yeah. We needed that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you talk about like preparation for big games and what you feed the group. Wolfie showed us one video, one clip and it was of that game, and we went,
No,
again. We felt like I kind of felt like we got a bit intimidated and bullied, and you mate Brad Single.
He was standing over the top of Regan Grace,
like,
wasn't he?
Yeah.
And we were just like, that's not happening again.
Yeah. We've got to go. Like we needed that to happen. And like credit to Wolfie, because it's a ballsy play to go, to flood them with information about, where the game could go and things that we could pick apart from this Wigan side, or do just go make a switch flick. And he made a switch flick.
And it worked,
yeah.
didn't it?
And you know what? Like some funny times, like that St. Helens group, I'm thinking about Kyle, right? And there was a few moments of training where, like, obviously we're under COVID, and we had this award called the Space Invader. And you got a packet of Space Invaders. Kyle won it every week because he just, like, on the training video, you're supposed to keep this nonsense by like the government.
They are a Felbroid.
Like everything needed to be filmed. Yeah, you're allowed to tackle each other, but you're not allowed to stand more than 2 meters close to each other. It's like absolute. And anyway, so Kyle is about as useful as a chocolate teapot. He's just Space Invader award every week. And then just some of the little things that like the lads in that team. So we had a doctor called Simon Perr, who's one of the most lovely human beings, who did so much for me personally, especially in that first stint at St. Helens. He's still the club doc, and like he used to walk he used to walk around, and this is stupid, but it made us laugh. Like he had this really funny voice, and Kyle could imitate the doc like a parrot. It was brilliant. So like Kyle would imitate the doc, and then you can't unhear something. And he used to have like, any men, and then Kyle had a run with that, and then like every time the doc would go, any men, and then that was it. We just like we're getting ready for these games. And we're just giggling like school kids. There's about 4 of us that were in on this joke.
It's just, people are trying to prep for a game, and obviously, I'd be on a bench at the start of it. Although, of course, it mattered, but I could be a bit more relaxed, and I don't even have to just look at Jammer. He knew fine well what I was thinking.
He used to talk and go, Kyle, it was torture trying to get ready for a game with him in the team. Like he just picked up, like I say, you can't unhear or unnotice something. Oh, Dad, Kyle. But you know what? That group.
We had a good group.
We had a great group.
It was good fun, and as well to finish it in the way that we did.
Oh my God!
For you as well, you think about it. Look, going into that game, Matt, there was Sean O'Loughlin, who had every right to bow out as a legend and win a grand final, and they had to do it for them. And I just think that grand final itself. It's just such a shame it wasn't played in front of a crowd, because it was one of the best grand finals I've ever been a part of.
Unbelievable final.
A couple of lads held up over the line. It was all the drama that came with it. Zach Hardaker missing that goal. Johnny Lomax just ripping it back in, and then we get a shot at goal, hits the post, Wells beat, and the rest is history.
I've never forgiven Zach Hardaker for that missed penalty, because there's a media tipping competition that I'm in, and if Wigan won that final, I was going to win about 850 quid.
Well, my heart bleeds.
I'm glad you had your fun though, boys. Don't worry about it.
You know what though? If it's at Old Trafford, maybe Tommy Makinson makes that goal and he's the hero, which nobody wants.
No, like he already had his moment in 2019.
Yeah, he's no one wants no one wants that those pair of boots to be worth a fortune for Tommy Mack.
No,
like he was the almost man there, wasn't he? like unlucky Tommy.
He won't hearing that.
Tell you what though, what an effort that was. Like he smoked that ball.
How far back was he? It was
way back.
I think it'll be a 2-point field goal now.
Unbelievable.
Because he almost does that one, Jam. He puts his finger in the air as if he's got it. As if he's got it.
Yeah, everyone else on the kick. Wait, what about? Got to say, James Roby. If Wellesby isn't there, then Robes is. Like he did an 80-minute performance. He was incredible. But that moment for me,
follow that up for his Jammer.
Like I'm not ashamed to say this. It was the most important day of my life.
Wow.
It was the most important day of my life.
Like, why did it mean that much?
Well, go on. I think you finally, after all them years, the NRL Grand Final, and I'm assuming getting that moment.
And also, like, where I go, like, I really struggled with mental health post playing, but if that familiar feeling of defeat again and being almost, look, I'm not gonna say like it would have been drastic or anything like that, but it just put me at peace with a few things.
It allow you to be content, put the lid on and go, do you know what?
And also the effort of bringing my family over as well. Like I said I was coming back for an opportunity to play for Saints, but you know what? I was lying. I was coming back to win that. I was coming back to be a part of a team that won that game, and it just for like career wise, just put me at peace with a few things.
Well, brilliant. Well,
I'll be forever grateful for Wolfie, for Wello, for the club, for all the lads like you think about, you know, Theo Farge, you know, playing with Morgs, Leesy, Big Al, Robes, good obviously, group. Johnny Lomax, like the list goes on. Yeah. Kevin Nagama, he comes from Fiji, was the red V,
brilliant. No, look, Jammer, absolute, unreal to have you on. We wish you all the best in your travels back to Australia. Well, that's it. The full-time Hooter has gone here on season 2025 from Back 10 and All Out Rugby League, powered by Smart Energy GB, the team that's helping households across Great Britain take control of their smart meters. A smart meter allows you to tackle your energy use head-on so you can find smarter ways to save at home. That's it. We look forward to seeing you next year. Have a wonderful Christmas. All the very best for the rest of the year. Take care. Bye-bye for now.